Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing 5 pop art Valentine's Day inspired nail designs. For all of the designs I show you today, I am going to use the same color. So I'm using this pink as my base color. I did apply 2 layers. I'm also going to be using black and white and a bit of a darker pink for some of the designs. I'm going to start off with my first design. This one is fairly easy. You're going to take black gel polish and a skinny liner brush and just outline the entire nail. I do want to add that these designs are beginner friendly. I think the challenging part is making straight lines, so it's just going to take a little bit of patience if you're not used to doing any sort of nail art. But just take your time, and with all of the lines, start off skinny and then you can build and make the line thicker if you want to. So after you have fully lined your nail, you're going to cure it. And now I'm going to go in with a darker pink and apply that to one of the corners on the top of the nail. This step is optional. You don't have to do it, but it's just creating a little bit of a shadow. After that, I did cure it in my lamp, and now I'm going in with a black gel polish and I'm creating a line on that same side. So that line is sort of like our shadow. These are pop art nails, so there's no blending or anything. The black lines are supposed to be like our shadows, and then you're going to create a line, a white line on the opposite side, and the white lines are like highlights. So there is our first design. That's it. It's really simple. Just requires a little bit of patience. So if you want to be more into the Valentine's Day spirit, you can make your highlight into a heart instead of just a line. I'm taking my dotting tool and making 3 dots. The 2 dots on top are bigger, and then there's a 1 dot at the bottom that's smaller. That's a simple way to make a heart. If you find making hearts difficult, I do that throughout this entire set. So you can use your dotting tool, create 2 circles on the top, 1 at the bottom, and then connect it into a heart with a liner brush. So I'm making my heart here. I am bringing it down a little bit so it goes down the nail some, and there goes our heart highlight. And after I'm done, I'm just going to apply a top coat and move on to the next design. This next nail is going to be a pop art heart design. So I'm taking a darker pink, dipping my dotting tool into it, and again, how I make my hearts. 2 bigger circles towards the top, and then 1 smaller circle at the bottom, sort of like in the middle of those hearts. And then I'm taking my liner brush, and you see I am just connecting it. So really simple way to make a heart. And I suggest you start off smaller and then you can build up if you're not used to drawing hearts. That way you're not drawing a gigantic heart if you didn't want to draw a gigantic heart, you know. Start off smaller and then make it bigger if you want to. So I did 2 hearts. I wanted them like slightly connected. You can draw just 1 heart if you want. After you're done with your hearts, you're going to make sure you cure it before you start lining them with black gel polish. There is going to be lining of all of the designs I show you today. These are pop art nail designs. So this is definitely going to test your patience. Again, if you're not used to hand drawing nail art, especially if you're not used to drawing lines. It is great practice though, and I promise it's easy. Just make sure you have a thin liner brush. Do not overload your brush with gel polish. You can always go back in and make your polish darker or the lines thicker, but always go in lighter and thinner if you're not used to drawing this style. After you're done lining your hearts, put your nail in your lamp to cure. Come back with black gel polish and make some lines on one side of your hearts for your shadows, and on the opposite side make white lines for your highlights. After that, apply a top coat, and that's it. You have your pop art heart nail design. The next design is going to be dripping hearts. I'm going to take that darker pink and just color in the top of the nail a little bit. Be cautious of how long your nail is, okay? If your nail is shorter than mine, you don't want to bring that color down as far as I did. You can see my nail is fairly long. So just be cautious of that. And I'm making some lines going down. I'm making 3 lines only because we're going to draw hearts at the tips of each lines. Also, do not make the lines the same length. It's going to look weird and you're not going to have space to draw your hearts. After you have drawn the lines going down, you're going to take your dotting tool, and this is going to be the easiest way to draw the hearts, especially for this design. Make 2 dots on each side of the lines that you drew, and then make 1 dot at the bottom part of those 2 dots, and then connect it just like we did with the other hearts that we drew, right? So I'm going to take my liner brush and just connect all of those dots to make a heart design. So at this point, you can kind of assess if your heart is going to be too big. And before you cure, you can go ahead and wipe it off if it's too big and it's just taking up too much space on your nail, or if you want to make it a little bit bigger. But again, I suggest you start off small with your lines and your hearts, and then if you want to make them bigger, you can always go back and do that. And also those arches, well, the space between the lines, you want to make into an arch. Okay, so here I'm taking my liner brush and rounding those spaces out. It looks really weird because natural drips are not just like, it doesn't have a line going straight across between the drips, right? It's kind of rounded out and it sort of looks like arches. So you want to round those out, otherwise it's going to look weird. So arch those spaces, connect your hearts. Make sure the lines that are going down aren't too thin either, because we are going to outline those lines and we're also going to outline the hearts. These are pop art designs, so we're lining everything to get that effect, but you can absolutely leave your nail design like that if you want. If it's too much to line everything, I absolutely understand. But if you want the pop art effect, then you are going to have to line everything. I do go in sections, so I just lined the lines going down and, you know, the rounded parts. And then I did cure it. That way I don't mess anything up. And then I went back and I outlined the hearts. You're also going to add lines in your hearts. And you can add a couple of lines at the top part of the design for your shadow and your highlights. So after you have made all of your highlights and shadows, you can go ahead and cure your nail and apply a top coat. And that's it. We're going to move on to the next nail. So we're going to draw a flame design with a heart in the center. Start off by applying some color to the tip of your nail. I'm using that same pink color. And you can go ahead and cure that. This nail, you definitely want to take your time, and if you need to work bit by bit, then do so. But you're going to draw 2 lines on the side going up, swirly lines. If it helps, just look up flame heart nail and you can get an idea of how it looks. After you've drawn those 2 lines on the side, I'm so sorry if I'm off the side of my camera. I'm so sorry. But you're going to draw a heart in the center of the nail. And you're not going to fill in this heart. So take your time and try to make it as even as possible. We're just drawing a heart outline. So this is what we should have so far. Now we're going to make a line going down from the tip of the heart to that bottom part, that pink part there. We're going to just connect that. And then we're going to make the flames at the top of the heart. So you can take your liner brush and you can kind of line your heart if you want to, or you can start at the top of your heart and create 2 swirly lines going up. And you can see it's kind of coming along, right? We're looking sort of like something. And at the bottom part where the heart flame and the side flames connect, you want to round that out. And you also want to round out the side parts where the flame and like the side of the nail are. So round those parts out. And then again, if you want to cure at this point, you can go ahead and cure just to make sure you have like your general outline down and you don't mess anything up. And again, do everything thin. And then if you want to go back in and make your lines thicker, you can, but especially with the flame design, do not go in thick right away. It's going to start looking weird. You're not going to have enough space. So thin lines. So now we can go in and start making our flames a little bit thicker. That top part there where the top of the heart is at, where the two flames meet, you want to round that out. That's what I'm doing right there. Round that part out. Don't have that line just going straight across. It's going to look really weird. And I'm just bringing my flames up a little bit, filling in the flames a little bit more. Again, we're outlining this, so don't make it too thin, but don't have it too thick. So this is how your design should look. All right, I'm bringing my flames up a little bit more, making sure everything looks good. After you're done making your flames and it looks good, now comes the annoying part. We're going to outline everything. Again, cannot stress enough, thin lines, take your time. Do not overload your brush. You can always go back and make your lines darker. In fact, I do end up doing that on some parts of this design. I had to go back, make the lines a little darker. That's fine as long as the lines aren't too thick. And we're also going to outline the heart that's in the center. Be careful with that part because if your heart is not even, or if your outline of the heart is not even, it's going to look a little weird. So take your time. I do work in sections when it comes to this part. So I'll draw some lines, cure, go back in, draw more lines until we have the entire nail outlined. After you have outlined the entire design, go ahead and cure that. We are going to go back in with black and white to create our highlight and our shadow parts. So for the highlights and shadow, I just do it randomly and I make sure like one side has the black lines for the shadow and then the other side has like white lines for the highlight. You don't have to add it throughout the entire design. Like I don't even add any of the highlight or shadow on the top flames. You don't want it to be overkill. You can just add some lines randomly, but not too much. And then that is it for this design. We're going to move on to the next one. So this is going to be the last design and also the easiest one. It's going to be a French heart design. So a French nail, but instead of the traditional French design, we are making a heart. So you're going to just apply your color to the tip of the nail and rounding out the top so it looks like the top of a heart. Once you are satisfied with how it looks, go ahead and put that in your lamp to cure. After you're done with that part, you're going to cure that and come back with black gel polish to line the top part. And at this time, because this design is so easy, you can go ahead and make your lines for your highlight and shadow. After that, apply your top coat, and that is all. We are done with all of the nails, and this is how all of the designs came out. And I did all of the designs the same color because I wanted to show you guys that you can definitely just make a full set out of all of these designs. Or if you want to just incorporate whichever designs you like into another set, you can do that as well as an accent nail or a couple of accent nails. But that's all for today's video. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I will be posting more Valentine's Day nail art and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.